5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon everybody, and a very, very special welcome to Mrs. Altman and Mrs. Stay's class at Glenwood Elementary School in Virginia Beach, Virginia, United States of America, North America, world universe. Wonderful to have you with us. We are talking to you all the way from Africa, everyone. Now, this is an elementary school class of 6 to 7-year-olds, and so you are all most especially welcome on our little safari this afternoon. And for the rest of you who are watching, regular viewers or perhaps new viewers, you're going to be on a live safari for the next 3 hours. We'd love to talk to you. Hashtag SafariLIVE if you'd like to ask us questions on Twitter, or questions at wildearth.tv if you are on the email. My name is James, and on the camera we have got Bryan, the thumb, Joubert. That's Bryan's thumb, everybody. Right, so boys and girls of the class, please feel free to ask me any question you like about Africa or South Africa or any of the animals that we might be lucky enough to see. I was hoping to find you something before we started, but there's nothing around right now. Lots of beautiful bush, though, all over the place. And with any luck, we will soon see some very exciting animals that you will enjoy with us. On the other vehicle, we have 2 vehicles out today. Sam is driving with David, and in the final control, we have Louise being assisted by Kirsten. Right, let's not hang around. I know your class isn't very long, so let's keep driving and see if we can find some of the wonderful animals of Africa. And in case you're wondering, we are in a part of South Africa called the Kruger National Park. Now, many of you, I'm sure, at Glenwood Elementary School would have heard of Yellowstone National Park in the United States. Well, the Kruger is basically like the South African equivalent of the Yellowstone National Park. It's a place where the animals and the trees and the birds and the insects and everything else can live without being harmed by human beings, well, most of the time anyway. And that's where I am very lucky to work. Isn't that great? It's a really wonderful job, and it's especially wonderful to be able to bring it to you. Now, the first thing we're going to show you, Bryan, are some grey hornbills up there. Now, of course, when we talk about animals, we often think of only mammals, and that's not necessarily true. Remember, animals include birds. And that, of course, is a beautiful bird there called a southern grey hornbill. Troy, you've obviously watched The Lion King, and you're interested to know whether or not the Pride Land is real. Well, Troy, I'm assuming that you're talking about The Lion King, and the Pride Land, as it is in The Lion King, I'm afraid, is a little bit of a story. But all of those animals that you saw in The Lion King do exist, absolutely. The lion lives out here, the giraffes live out here, the elephants, the rhino, the hippo, the buffalo, they all live out here. But they don't all necessarily walk up and down and treating the lion like a king. The hyena does live here, and the hyena, of course, is a very beautiful animal, and it is not an evil, nasty animal like they made it out to be in The Lion King. And that bird that you just saw was a hornbill, and a hornbill, of course, is exactly what Zazu was. Zazu was a hornbill, and interestingly, one of our local languages called Zulu or isiZulu, in that language, the word was the function of that little bird. Advise and give good counsel to little Simba. Now we're hoping to find a little one, but let's keep exploring. We've got a question about what the hornbills eat. It's a very good question. And Judy, those hornbills like to eat fruits, they like to eat insects, they like to eat sometimes even small reptiles. That's the main sort of thing that they eat. Lots of insects though. Just about all birds out here will eat insects. I'm just going to stop. I can hear something. Is it on the vehicle?
I don't know. I'm also hearing it.
It's going, pew,
Yes.
Phew. And it stopped, everybody. So I'm assuming that it's probably something making noise in the car. Let's keep going. Yes, it is in the car. Interesting. Never mind that. Let's see if we can find some animals. There was a very big herd of buffalo around earlier. Now our buffalo are very different from your buffalo. Our buffalo are big and black, and they've got enormous horns, and their hair is very short. Unlike your buffalo at home, well, you probably don't have too many buffalo in Virginia Beach, but you'll have them in the American national parks. They're all big and shaggy, aren't they? Very different from our buffalo out here, which I wish I could find you. Now, Farrar, a very bird. You want to know how many birds there are in Africa? Well, there are over 900 species of bird in South Africa alone. Africa, of course, is an enormous place, and this, Farrar, is how many birds there are in Africa. This book has got all the birds in Africa, and so there are probably about 2,000 species of birds in all of Africa. That is a lot. 2,000 different kinds of birds in Africa. Remember, Africa, everybody, is bigger than the United States, much bigger. In fact, you could probably fit the United States into Africa about 2.5 times. Hooray! We're going to go across to Sam. He's got another wonderful bird to show you.
Glenwood Elementary. Mrs. Altman and Mrs. Stay, welcome to the safari. You've seen James, and now you have seen a ground hornbill in a tree. There's not one, there's two, there's three, there's 4 in that tree. We can't see the other 2 at the moment, but this is a fantastic sighting of a ground hornbill. It is the first time I have ever seen a ground hornbill. Have you guys ever seen a ground hornbill? Have you ever seen any of the hornbills? There's a number of hornbills that we get, and this is the largest hornbill that we get here in southern Africa. It's beautiful. It makes such an incredible sound. Almost sounds like a lion roaring when you hear the sound of a ground hornbill. So if we're lucky, we'll be able to hear the sound of these beautiful animals. I'm going to see if we can get another position. Hello, Maya. How many tigers do we get in southern Africa? That's a fantastic question, Maya. Because we actually have tigers at a place called Tiger Canyons, but they're not really from here. So tigers you actually get in Asia. This is where we normally find the lions and the leopards. But Mia, you know, you never know. Hey? We've got a conservancy that has tigers here, and, you know, it's a possibility, basically, but it's not the right habitat. They weren't born here, but it's a really good question, Mia. I like the way that you are thinking. But if we have a look up in the tree, we have the ground hornbills. Sorry about that. I realized I didn't actually introduce myself. I am Sam Chevalier. On camera is David. I just got so excited. I'm brand new here. At SafariLIVE in the bush, and I just saw a ground hornbill, and it is the first sighting that I've had of a ground hornbill, and I just couldn't wait to show everyone. So that is a ground hornbill in the tree. There's 4 of them, and they are just such magnificent birds. They are so big. So, Glenwood Elementary, I am Sam. Those are the ground hornbills, and Dave is behind the camera. So, it's the same size as a turkey that you get in America. That's the best way in which I can compare the ground hornbill to the turkey. Yeah. But that's the first hornbill that you've seen in Africa. Well, guys, hopefully we get to see the other ones. There's more than just these big ground hornbills in the bush. I'm going to see what we can find out here. Let's go and see how James is doing with elephants. See,
We are so lucky, everybody. Look at this special little elephant and his mum. And they are feeding on all the grass and the special flowers that have grown up as a result of some late rain that we had. Isn't that special? That little one is even younger than all of you. He's only about 2 or 3 months old. And Hannah, you wanted to know if you get elephants in Africa? Well, there's your answer. There are elephants. And this is not a very big herd. There are 4 of them. We know this herd quite well. We see them quite often. And if you look carefully at the mum there, she's missing the bottom part of her trunk. Now, we don't really know how she lost it, but maybe when she was little, like her little baby there, maybe she lost it to a crocodile or another predator or something like that. But she's okay. It doesn't matter. She manages to survive just fine. Let's move up a little bit and see if we can get a better view of these 4 wonderful African elephants. The little one is just running because he's running because he wants to be with his older brothers and sisters. And I'm sure many of you have got older brothers and sisters that you like to be close to, especially when you're excited and you want to tell them about something you've just seen. Well, that little elephant is just rushing over to his big brother and sister and saying, "Can you believe it? Look at all those people over there." He's so excited because he doesn't see us very often, you see. We'll just get round the front so you can get an idea of him walking towards us. There's a very interesting question from Pamela, who wants to know why animals live in Africa. Well, Pamela, animals don't really have a choice where they live. They're not like us. They can't get on a plane and fly somewhere else. But there are animals all over the world, Pamela. I don't know how much geography you've done, but there are 7 continents in the world, and on all of those continents there are animals. Even in Antarctica, which is frozen all of the time, you get penguins and seals, which all live around there. And so there are animals on every continent. And so that's just the way it has happened, Pamela. As the world has developed over many billions of years, so animals have developed in all parts of the world. From the smallest little animals, so the smallest animal we get here would, I suppose, be something the size of an ant, up to the size of these incredible elephants. And you find them all over the world. You'll find animals, but some animals are better suited to other areas than others. So you don't get elephants in the United States because the habitat, the kind of environment that they live in, the right types of plants for them to eat don't exist. But you get elephants in Africa because they do. And we don't get bears here, for example, but you get bears, obviously, in America. Now, that elephant is very close to us now, only about, say, 10 or 12 feet. I'm just hiding out the way so you don't get my face instead of the elephants. And there's the mother and the little one. Look at the little one, just lifting its ears as if to say, "What do you guys want?" Joshua, you're wondering about another very important animal. And Joshua, you're obviously a very clever fellow, because one of the most important animals we find out here is a special thing called a dung beetle. And Joshua, you want to know what color a dung beetle is. Well, while you look at the elephants, I will find you some pictures of dung beetles. Dung beetles come in all sorts of colors, Joshua. The best colored dung beetle we get is beautiful, sort of silvery green. And I'll show you a picture of him while you watch those wonderful elephants. And they're feeding, they're eating grass, they're eating flowers, they'll also eat seeds and fruits. But there are not many fruits around now, so they have to eat grass at the moment. And you might also be able to hear that special bird calling. It's called a ring-necked dove. just before I show you a picture of the dung beetles, the mum elephant, you want to know which one is the mum elephant? That's the mum elephant right in front of us there. And she's not very big yet. She's still very big for us. I mean, she probably weighs about 8,000 or 9,000 pounds, but she will get bigger. She's only about 25 years old, I would say. Right, Joshua, here are the dung beetles that we get here, very special colors. And look at that beautiful sort of green colored one that we get there. Most of them, however, are kind of boring black colored, like that one there. There we go, like that one. And then I'll just quickly show you one more page. This one looks like a plum. You know what a plum is. Very bright purple fruit, and they call it a plum dung beetle. See how many there are? You know, there are over 800 species of dung beetle, and this one is really very pretty colors. Look at that. And then we had another question coming through, but unfortunately I missed it because my earpiece came out, so I'm going to ask Louise to feed it to us again. And Troy, you want to know why dung beetles are small? Well, Troy, again, it's just because it's easier for them to be small than it is to be big. Imagine a dung beetle was the size of an elephant. It would be very difficult for it to fly, and it wouldn't be able to find enough dung to eat. So if you're little, you can find enough to eat because you don't have to eat very much. It's just like you don't have to eat nearly as much as your mum and dad or as much as your big brother and sister because you're just smaller. And so if you're a dung beetle out here, there's not enough dung if you're too big. If you were the size of Bryan, who's enormous, if you were the size of Bryan, you wouldn't find enough dung to eat and you'd be very hungry all the time, Troy. Let's just go around the corner here and get another nice look at these elephants. We're very lucky to see these. And I hope that many of you will be able to actually come out here with your families one day and come and see these things for real. It's a very special feeling seeing a tiny little elephant like that. I know you guys are 6 and 7 years old, and this little elephant is probably, well, we know how old he is. He's about 3 months old. That's more than 5 years younger than all of you. Sorry, Louise, you'll have to do that again. My earpiece has got an issue. And Jaden, you want to know if we find lots of crazy things here. Well, Jaden, yes, I suppose we do, but you know what the craziest thing in all the world is? Jaden, I think the craziest thing in all the world is the human being. We find lots of them around here, of course. I'm just trying to think of what crazy things you'd think we find. Crazy insects, crazy praying mantises, I suppose, different kinds of beetles and weevils and those sorts of things, and lots of birds, but the craziest things out here, I suppose, would be human beings. Or you would also have crazy things like monkeys. They are very crazy. They can behave crazily, and baboons. And there's a young fellow in the class called James, which of course is a great name, isn't it? Wonderful name. You want to know how aggressive are dung beetles? James, a dung beetle is not an aggressive creature at all. You can pick up a dung beetle quite easily, and a dung beetle will not attack you. James, they don't have a sting. And they're actually quite interesting to pick up, because if you pick them up, they'll try and sort of dig their way under your skin. But they don't have any sharp mouth parts, and so they can't hurt you at all, James. And unfortunately, I'd love to show you a dung beetle, but there aren't many around right now. Look at this little elephant. Now, Judy, watch carefully, and you will have your question answered for you. Judy, elephants, you want to know what they eat. Judy, elephants eat grass. Look at this one eating grass here. That's the mother eating grass. This little one, of course, drinks milk, and it's trying to drink milk now. Look, it's trying to suckle. You see that? Look at that, it's suckling. Just like a baby human, it's drinking milk. So elephants will drink milk when they're little, and then when they're about 3 years old, they stop drinking milk, and they'll only eat grass and leaves and twigs and bark and roots and all sorts of interesting things like that. Right, we've got amazing animals out here. Let's leave these elephants and go across to a giraffe.
Oh my word, everyone, look at the size of this animal. It's a giraffe. Look at this, how long its neck is. Oh, and there's a young one there too. Oh, sweet. Wow, these are the largest mammals on Africa. The giraffe, beautiful. Hello, little one. There goes an oxpecker that's sitting on the back of one of the mom there. Oh, isn't it beautiful, guys? And you can tell that that is a female by the coloration. Normally the males are a lot darker than that female there. And you can also tell that it's the youngster's also a female because you can see the tufts on top of its ossicles, which is on top of its head. Have a look at the top of its head. You can see those two little balls. That's often going to tell you that that's going to be a female if it's nice and fluffy. And you can see the little one is eating, got a nice big bolus, which is what they do is they chew on grass and browsing. They browse on leaves and it's called a cud, and then they'll just chew, and then it will swallow, and hopefully we'll see it swallow. And when it swallows, you'll see the lump go all the way down its neck. It's incredible. And it'll come back up. Wow, Maya is asking me how many animals are there in Africa. There are so many animals in Africa. I don't even know where to begin. We've got the giraffe, we've got the ground hornbill that we just saw, we've got elephants, we've got wild dogs, which we saw this morning, we've got little beetles, we've got insects, we've got all sorts of birds and butterflies and plants and, well, animals and plants. So we've got so many different species of plants and we've got so many different species of animals. But Mia, what is your favorite animal? Which one do you love the most? Ooh, so sweet. So giraffes can get up to 6 meters, 4 to 6 meters. Can you actually imagine that? Try standing up and just looking 6 meters above you. Ask your teacher to try and put 6 meters up in your classroom somewhere, and you'll be able to understand that. 18 feet, 6 meters is 18 feet. So for us, I reckon your best bet is to go into your classroom somewhere, see if you can get 18 foot and mark and say that's the tallest animal in Africa, the giraffe. Really, really, really tall. You can see its tail whipping there. What's the tail doing? It's flicking all the flies. So on this really hot day, it's got all these flies and that come and rest on it, and it gets irritating. So it slaps all the flies off its body. Oh, thank you, Mr. Giraffe. It's been amazing. They're off now. Joshua, you're asking, do giraffes sometimes eat flowers? Yes, sometimes they do.
There's zero
They
chance
love
of taxes.
The knobthorn, which is a big tree with big knobs on it, and it has these flowers that come out, almost like flowers that come out, and they really like to eat those on the Acacia nigrescens, which is, the knobthorn, big and knobbly. So with that, let's go and see what James is up to. Apparently there's a cheetah on the property. We're going to do our best to find what is the cheetah? What can you tell me when you come back is the fastest animal in Africa?
Now, I told you a little bit about buffalo earlier on. Well, there are some buffalo That is a young female buffalo, and all around her, her friends in the herd of males and females and youngsters. And so very different, as you can see. I'm sure you've all seen pictures of your buffalo there, the bison, the famous American bison, that used to cover the plains of the Old West in thousands and thousands. Well, these buffalo, rather the same, used to cover the plains of Africa in their thousands. And now not quite as many as there used to be. Hannah, an interesting one from you. I think your question was, do buffalo eat elephant poop? Is that right? Oh, do dung beetles only eat elephant poop? No, Hannah, they don't. Dung beetles eat all kinds of poop, if you can believe it. The dung beetles will eat even lion poop. Now, lion poop, everybody, is quite possibly the most disgusting thing in all the world. It is more disgusting than anything you've ever smelt before in your life, and dung beetles will even eat that sometimes. But they do love to eat buffalo poop. Buffalo poop is really good for dung beetles. And I just wish we could actually find you a dung beetle, but I was saying the rain has not been a lot this year, and so we haven't had many dung beetles at all. And they need the rain because they need to bury the dung under the ground. Otherwise, they can't lay their eggs in it, and so the rain has to make the ground soft in order for them to live properly. And we haven't had much rain, so we haven't had many dung beetles this year. They're some of my favorite animals, as clearly they are the favorites of many of you. And this buffalo is watching us, interested to know what we want. Now, Farah, an interesting one from you. Are rhinos a kind of dinosaur? Well, of course, we know that the full name for a rhino is rhinoceros. But remember, it's not spelt the same as dinosaurus. It's not rhinoceros, it's rhinoceros. And so, no, they don't, they're not anything like dinosaurs. Remember, and your teachers will explain what I mean by this, a dinosaur was a kind of reptile, like an enormous lizard. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, dinosaur means thunder lizard, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's what it means. And a rhino is a mammal, the same as these buffalo, the same as you, the same as the elephants. We're all mammals together, so we're not the same as the dinosaurs at all. And you can see how peaceful it is out here. And Shivika, a lovely question from you about what buffaloes eat, and you want to know if they eat lions. Shivika, no, they don't eat lions, but lions eat buffalo, don't they? This is a very favorite food of the lion, and lion is basically the only animal big enough to eat a big buffalo like this. A buffalo weighs many hundreds of pounds. A big bull will weigh more than 1,000 pounds, up to 2,200 pounds for a very, very big buffalo. So a lion makes a good meal out of a big buffalo bull, but they don't often manage to catch them because they are so big. Hello, James. You're interested in how strong a buffalo is. Well, a buffalo is even stronger than Bryan on the back here. It's even stronger than me. It's even stronger than your dad. It's even stronger than a cow. So it's a bit like a cow, but have you ever been on a horse, James? It's probably about as strong as a big horse. So that's quite a strong animal. You could probably make them pull a cart like you could make a horse pull a cart, but they are rather they're too angry. You can't tame them. You can't tell them to put a bridle on because they get very upset when you do that sort of thing. And you don't want to have an upset buffalo around. So they are very strong indeed. And Joshua, you're interested in what they do actually eat now that you know that they are not eaters of lions. Well, Joshua, a buffalo eats grass. Most of the animals out here will happily eat grass. Grass is a delicious thing for many of the animals to eat, but these animals, these buffalo, look what they're doing. They're not eating anything at the moment. And they're not eating anything at the moment because they are chewing the cud. Now, you may have heard that term before, chewing the cud, and what that means, and you can be very glad that you don't have to do the same thing. There, you can see some of them might be chewing. And chewing the cud basically means, there, that one's chewing, you can see. That means that it bites the grass out of the ground, swallows it quickly, and then when its tummy is full, it lies down on the ground, and guess what it does? Ugh. It vomits up into its own mouth and then re-chews the food. Now, that's a very clever way of eating if you have to eat grass, because grass, of course, doesn't have very good nutrition. And so if you want to remain healthy as an animal, it's quite a good idea to chew your food twice to get as much nutrition out of it as possible. And there are lots and lots of animals out here that do that. Your American bison do the same thing. These buffalo do it. All of the antelope out here, even those giraffe that you saw with Sam, do that kind of thing. They re-chew their food, and they're given a special name for that, and that name is ruminant. They're known as ruminants, but you don't have to remember that. Shivika, you're interested in little buffalo and how long they stay with their mothers, how long they stay with their mothers. Shivika, they stay with their mothers basically for all their lives. The female buffalo live within the same herd as their mothers do, and then the male buffalo, once they are about, say, 2 or 3 years old, well, then they're often left to either go to another herd or they live on their own with some other older buffalo bulls. But the mothers and the females will stay within the same herd as their mothers. They're not dependent on their mothers anymore, so they don't they're not always with them, but they are in the same herd. Of course, a very valid question for Africa. Jaden S., you're interested in what we do if an animal attacks us. Well, Jaden, you know, it actually doesn't happen very often that an animal would try to attack us. And the first thing you have to do is stand still. You must never run away from an animal out here. Sometimes you have to climb a tree, but the first rule is don't run. Just watch. And normally, you see, because an animal is normally saying to you, go away and leave me alone, it doesn't actually want to hurt you. If you stand still, you will be fine. So the only time an animal out here will try to attack you is if it is very, very scared. And it doesn't feel like it can run away. Then it might attack you, but it's very unusual for that to happen. Nice question there, Jaden. Right, I think we should probably move along now. See what else we can find. Maybe I did believe there were some elephants up ahead. So Sparcy, an interesting one from you. How do you know if a buffalo is a boy or a girl? Well, you basically have to look between its back legs in the same way that you can tell if a dog is a male dog or a female dog. You just have to look between its back legs. And that one there that we were looking at there, we go a little bit forward. You can see is a male, and then also there's a female there. There, that's a female there. Look at her head. You can see her horns are different from the others. So Bryan just tilts the camera up a little bit. There's a male. You can see that his horn is like a helmet, a great big helmet on the top of the head, and her horns don't have that helmet. They just come out the side of the head. They're also much smaller. See, they're much smaller than the males. That's a big bull there. Let's go forward. Now, Madeline, let's go forward. Let's leave these buffalo for now and quickly see if we can't find you something similar to what you asked about. You've asked about gazelle. And do we get gazelles here? No, we don't get gazelles. Gazelles, we find one kind of gazelle in South Africa, and that's called springbok. And the springbok doesn't occur here. It likes to live in the desert up to the north of the country. But we also find something called antelope. And antelope here, we got lots of different kinds, 9 different kinds of antelope, and they look very similar to some gazelles, and we'll see if we can't find those. But in East Africa, you get lots of gazelles. That's in Tanzania and Kenya. You get 3 or 4 different kinds of gazelle. But to you, I imagine, an antelope will look almost exactly the same as a gazelle. We'll just see, sometimes they're in these clearings up ahead here. Some impala, they are the most common gazelles or antelope that we get here. But I don't see any today. They haven't come out to see you, unfortunately. Which is sad, but they might pop out just before you leave us. Let's keep looking. Oh, what a very clever question from Pamela. Pamela, you're interested in how animals hibernate in Africa. Well, you know, Pamela, very, very few animals hibernate in Africa, and very few animals hibernate in Africa because, you know, it doesn't actually get very cold here. It gets to about, in this particular area of Africa, only to about, what we'd say, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we don't ever get snow. We don't ever get ice here in the winter time. There are some parts of Africa that get snow and ice, but this particular part of Africa, no snow and no ice. And I think that's quite nice for us. So it's always quite warm, and that means that the animals don't ever have to hibernate. But the one thing that it does do is get very dry here. Now, Jaden is going to turn around here because I think we might lose our signal if I don't. Jaden S., you're interested in what happens if a bird takes the camera. Well, Jaden, I mean, the camera is quite heavy. Bryan, how much do you think it weighs?
At least 20 pounds.
20 pounds. So it would have to be an enormous bird to take away this camera. But, of course, birds wouldn't try and take a camera because they can't eat a camera. A camera doesn't taste very nice, does it, Bryan? And especially not for some of the birds here. So the biggest eagle we get here is a martial eagle, which is about that big. See how big it is? It's bigger than your screen. There we go. It's about 3 feet tall. And a martial eagle likes to eat big lizards. It doesn't like to eat cameras. Cameras are too hard. I'm just going to drive down this road here and see if we can't find an antelope for you to look at. Sorry, Shavika, I've missed your question. What was that about? Geese, maybe? Ah, you want to know if geese live in Africa, Shavika? They do. We get a very famous goose here called the Egyptian goose. Just remember, though, we're in a very small piece of Africa here. And Africa extends way up north to the Mediterranean. And you'll see, if you, in your next geography class, ask your teacher to show you a big map of Africa. And you will see that to ask if geese live in Africa, well, yes, thousands of geese live in Africa. In this area, we do get some geese. Not very many, but we do get some. Look, look, look. There's a grey go-away bird. Now, what I want you to all do while you're sitting there in the classroom, try and pretend that you are a grey go-away bird. And Bryan and I will tell you how to make the noise, and then you can make it in the class. Bryan, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Quack! Now you all do that in your classroom. The bird is saying, go away, go away. So everybody on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And that bird is now looking for insects to eat there. It's got a beak. Normally that would allow it to eat fruit, but there's not much fruit around at the moment. And so they have to eat insects. Aren't you glad that you don't have to eat insects if there isn't fruit around? You can just go to the store and buy some fruit. But that option is not available to these grey go-away birds, so they have to make do with insects. Jaden G, let's move on a little bit here while we talk about the grey go-away bird and the fact that it lives in a tree. Jaden, you're interested in whether any other kinds of animals live in trees. Well, yes, we have a few. In terms of primates, remember we are primates, so are monkeys, so are baboons, and so are bush babies. So those 3 species, bush babies, monkeys and baboons, they will all spend time in trees. They're not always in trees. A bush baby is normally in a tree, monkeys quite often, and baboons like to sleep in trees. But otherwise, most of the animals out here, of course, live on the ground. And a leopard, which is a very famous African predator, will climb into trees and rest in trees, but they don't always live in a tree. They'll just normally rest there for a little while. I really can't believe we haven't managed to show you an impala yet, because they're normally everywhere. An impala, most common antelope that we find in this area. And I'm very glad that all of you, well done that you did your go-away bird call. That's very good. Well done to you. And I hope that you go home and tell your parents about the grey go-away bird and make the call at home as well. Perhaps around the dinner table would be a good place to do it. Just not with your mouth full, remember that. And Hannah, you're interested in eagles, and do they live in Africa? Yes, we get plenty of eagles here. They just are very different from the eagles that you get. Well, they're not that different. One eagle, in fact, that we get here, called the fish eagle, looks almost exactly like the American bald eagle. Now, I don't know if you've seen the American bald eagle. As far as I'm aware, the national bird of the United States, and we get a very similar thing here called the fish eagle. I just want to check one more place here for some antelope for you. And maybe there'll be an eagle there as well, or something. Can't believe that we haven't seen an impala. We normally see them all over. We'll go around the corner here. The other thing we might be lucky enough to find is some berries to eat. Bryan, you're in luck. How excited are you to eat some berries, Bryan?
So excited, James.
So excited, overwhelmed. Look, everybody. So if you're hungry out in the bush, you can pick some berries, but only if it's the right time of year. And this time of year is the right time of the year for berries. These are called white berries. And I'm going to give Bryan some because he's very big, so he's always hungry.
Thank you.
What do they taste like, Bryan? What do they taste like?
Delicious raspberries.
They taste like, I don't think they taste like raspberries. I think they taste like peas, but they're not very nice. They're not very nice peas because they're not ripe yet. Anyway, you can find food out here if you're very hungry. You can get used to it, even if it doesn't taste quite as nice as the food you might find in the store. Now just remember that you mustn't eat anything that you find in the bush. You will go out into the wilderness, in the garden, and unless you know exactly what you're eating, you mustn't eat it because it can be poisonous. Those white berries are not poisonous, they just don't taste very good. Phew. Not very nice. All right, everybody, at the Glenwood Elementary School in Virginia Beach. It's been lovely talking to you. You've got to go and do something else interesting today. Maybe some art classes or maths classes. So from Bryan and I, and Sam and David, and of course Brian's thumb, we will see you next time. I hope you had a good time. Have a lovely day for the rest of the day. Bye-bye. Just as we find some impala. So we have found some impala, everybody. I will now stop talking like this, of course, because I'm now addressing largely adults. Aren't I, Bryan?
So,
Yes. So I shall return to a rather more sedate way of speech. Here we have some impala grazing across the plains. Splendid, splendid impala grazing across the plains. Very comfortable, eating the grass. Lovely soft afternoon African light here. Beautiful. I'm just going to take a breath, everybody. I found that quite intensive, those little kids, of wonderful questions. I think my favourite being, are dung beetles aggressive? I did find it a little difficult not to giggle every so often, but it's just so great the way kids see the world, isn't it? Things that you and I would never think to ask or think about. Well, now this is very spectacular indeed. We, unfortunately, didn't find Tingana, but Elvis found Tingana. He tracked him in here. Remember, we saw him walking on foot there. He found a kill where Tingana had taken out a male impala, and of course the male impala are being eaten left, right and centre because they're fighting with each other. Oh, that's wonderful. That might be the last view we get of him. But he's killed a male impala, and Elvis found him on foot, went in, got the vehicle, and it is very, very thick with bush in here. So I'm not sure that we're going to see him again. I'll reverse slightly and see if we can't get a better view. Just going to ease very slowly along. I'm afraid that's the best view we're going to get. Unless we drove basically onto the top of him, we won't see him. Anyway, this is where he is. He's got a very big male impala. Unfortunately, not many sort of marula trees around here, so he's going to struggle to hoist this kill, but with any luck, he'll find a tree to stash it in, and he'll be here for the next few days. That's a real pity. We did some serious driving to try and get in here because it is very thick. The elephants have made an incredible mess. They've pushed over 100 knobthorn trees in here, and we got that one view. And then as you came live, obviously, he moved away. I'm just going to reverse again a little bit. We're not going to get a view here, everyone. got any view there? So he's in there, everyone, I'm afraid. You see him there, Bryan?
No.
He's here. He's just over the top there. You should be able to see him breathing. Just moving through there. There he is. Incredible sighting there of Tingana catching flies. So just let's appreciate, first of all, the colour, the wonderful colour, his dappled spots, and his brilliant camouflage, of course. And just imagine walking through this area. Pretend you were Elvis tracking there. You saw him walking along the tracks. Tingana, I think, had gone down to the water to have a drink. And he then came back towards this area, and Elvis followed his tracks, found him eating on the kill. Tingana then slunk off into the bush where he is now, and will no doubt, he's been eating for a long time. You can see him panting away there. He will go back towards the kill at some stage, and I hope that he hoists it up. We're quite close to what we call Treehouse Dam here. And, I mean, we came down here hoping to find the dogs, but Elvis and the crew that he's with were looking basically exactly where we were going to look for the wild dogs, and they didn't have any luck with them. So I think quite possibly they are still on the reserve. They did do some road maintenance today, which means that all of the roads have been dragged. It means that big heavy tyres been dragged over them, and that means, of course, the tracks are going to be almost impossible to see unless they are smoking hot, basically, unless the animals just walk there now. A very nice inquiry here from Doodle about an injury that Tingana had. And Doodle, you're saying you're guessing his injury is better, is fixed, because he's managed to kill. Doodle, there are two aspects to that question. The first is, yes, I think he has healed. I haven't seen him moving. I've seen him lying down twice since that big injury that he had. But I'm imagining the distance that he's covered is vast, so I think he's probably fine. The second thing to say about that, Doodle, is that it is a male impala. Now, although a male impala for a leopard is, well, I mean, it's approaching size limit for a female. For a male, not so much, but it is still an impressively large animal. What you find, Doodle, is that because the males impala are now fighting with each other, they're basically only thinking about one thing, and that's the females. And the rat and the mate, and sort of trying to keep the territory. They forget to eat, they lose their sense of vigilance, and so they're actually pretty easy to kill. So for an injured leopard, and I don't think he is injured anymore, but if he was, you'll find that a male impala is actually a pretty good animal to try and catch. Dinga, you make a very good point. You say that if Tingana was a female, which of course he inescapably isn't, he'd find all of the best den sites, because he's always finding great places to stash his kills, and indeed himself. Yes, I agree with you. I think it's his exceptional experience of termite mounds. Okay, everybody, what we're going to do, I'm afraid, is move out of here. We might come back later. Obviously, there are a few vehicles trying to get in here. We're the only ones that can see him. So we're going to pull out now, and let's go and see if we can find those dogs before it gets dark, and we may come back a little bit later. Wonderful to see our friend Tingana. chaps who found him can't actually see him now. So I think it's only fair. We've had a nice view. Let's get out of here and we'll let them in. You'll get about a 1 out of 5, 1, 2 out of 5 in there. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Well, oh, that's wonderful. Look at him. Right, we're just going to sneak past him. He really he's an impressive fellow, this. And I don't want to give him a fright. Mainly because he will then give us a fright. Okay, hold on tight, Bryan. We're going to nip past him, everybody. He'll probably turn to face us. He'll shake his head, maybe. No, he is so chilled. He didn't even go up. Thanks, old boy. Isn't he one? I can't believe that. Turn around, shake their heads just to say, what are you doing? And he didn't give it. Flying continental about me driving like a maniac behind him. Nearly there, everybody. How are the tyres that side? Oh, okay. Okay. Nearly there. Nearly there. I imagine Sam will probably arrive at exactly the same time. And we're going to have 2 dogs on the sighting for now. At least 2 vehicles on the sighting, not 2 dogs. I don't suppose Sam would like to be called a dog. I wouldn't like to be called a dog. Also, buffalo at the pan. I would suggest quite humbly, everybody, that you switch yourselves over to the jam cam feed, simply because, well, you'll be able to see the animals rather than my mug driving like a, well, what should we say? Not Lewis Hamilton, he's not doing so well this year. So what we're going to do is go to the dam camera. You can check out the dogs and the buffalo. You'll hear my voice. I haven't arrived yet. It's just a magical sound of my voice over the buffalo and the dogs. And the one buffalo is chasing the dogs around. This is unbelievable. We're 1 minute from there. 30 seconds actually. Here we go. We're getting there now. So you're having a great sighting now, and as we get into the sighting, we'll turn away from the dam cam, and then you will see us coming in. So if you watch us now, well, you may be able to see us now coming across the wall. There are the dogs, there are the buffalo. This is awesome. Look at that. Check that out, everybody. They're very unhappy about the dogs. I'm going to have to call these in quickly. Stations, pack of wild dogs at Juma Dam. Animals are, yeah, they're static for the moment in the dam. How fantastic. Look at that, look at that. Copy that. Oh, this is amazing. Trying to bite them on the bottom. Oh, bite that buffalo on the bottom. Vuyatela dam. This is fantastic. Jeez. Oh, those buffalo, I mean, the dogs have got no chance of killing a buffalo like that. They're just playing. I suspect those are probably youngsters from this year. And then the other side of the dam, there are 3 on their own, and maybe those are the adults. And these youngsters are just taking a chance. Nobody's taking this very seriously. This is just wonderful. Okay, copy that, Orbs. You'll be the third station. Sam, will you move out when one of the other vehicles gets here? This is just awesome. Complete piece here, come another two from across the other side of the dam. There are two other vehicles coming in here, everybody, and so, I mean, we've got Sam and me here now. We won't both be able to be here, but whoever got a better view at the time will move out. I'm going to move now across to the other side of the dam. So let's head across to Sam, and you can get a view with him.
Guys, we are sitting back here with the wild dogs. This is the second time I'm seeing them today. They've just been sitting with a buffalo. I saw you were just with James, so that was very exciting. And they're now heading towards Vuyatela Pan. Oh, guys, let's have a see and look, see what they're doing. Wow, look at this. As you can see, they're having a little drink from the water here, and they're going to be heading. It looks like they're heading in a westerly direction. They have a quick sip of water, and they'll be on their way. Wow, this is incredible. Look at them drink, guys. They've probably had quite a long day. I mean, I was running around this area with these wild dogs, and I didn't see them drink once when they were running around, and now they're just sitting here having a quick drink to eat, and now they're going to be off. You can actually see them start. Let's have a look and see what they're doing, these two over here. Wow, what are you guys up to? All right. Just want to chat to James on the radio. James, if you copy, please let me know when I must leave. Wow. Wow. Wow, look at this, guys. Copy that. Wow, guys. This is unreal. Let's watch this. Look at them playing over here. This is incredible. This is such a magnificent sighting. Oh my word. Here they come, here they come. Whew. They're gonna come. They're just playing around our vehicle. Oh wow. Oh wow. This is amazing. Look at here, look at these. Wow, guys, what are you doing? No wonder you wanted some water. You're just running around like crazy. Wow. Wow. Oh. Guys, this morning we were sitting on this exact location when we found them, just by quarantine, and they've come back, and now they're just playing here, providing so much joy. You can just see these white tails playing. Look at those white tails just playing in the... Oh man, this is incredible. Yo. See, you know, what's been so noticeable over the time that I've been here, I've watched so many different animals over the last couple days playing with each other, and it's just so great to watch because you can really see now how important play is for an animal. Wow, let's carry on. Okay guys, we've just left them. I think James is just ahead to see if...
They're chasing here through, everybody. They're coming through this bush here. There they are. They're on the run. See the youngsters playing behind there. It's just standing there right there, just basically at the final control. There they are. The three adults came herring across here to hunt. The impala went scattering. They're the other side of the clearing here. I wonder if one didn't go in through that fence. We've got them here, or just two of them here on the road. Elvis, what's your position? Okay, copy that, Elvis. Move in. Sam, you stand by there. I'm going to follow these adults. Let's just see where, I think this is probably the alpha male, everyone. On the lookout for a kill. The impala have gone running down over the edge of the clearing here. Stand by on the fence there, dear is hunting. Orbs, they're coming now, the front dog's coming to the western edge of quarantine. There we go, look at them, here they go. Now, they've left the youngsters behind, mainly because the youngsters are playing like you saw them doing with Sam there, and these ones are now on the serious hunt. They're on the lookout for something. We're going to stick with them as long as we can with this camera, because this camera is much more easy to operate in a sighting like this with dogs moving. But once it gets darker, we can bring the other camera that Sam's using in, and then we don't have to put a light on them. Some of you would have seen an amazing camera that we used last night, which basically makes light, at least night, look like day. All right, let's head across to Sam. Basically, this is split into two sightings. We've got the adults here. Sam's got the pups. Let's go across to him.
Guys, here we are with the dogs. They are moving at a rapid rate, as you can see, through this thicket. This is exceptionally exciting stuff. There's no way of telling where I should go, where I should follow up. I'm just going to follow them from the back. James is going to go to a location where he's going to best be able to watch them, where they will go, and if there's something that they might be able to feed on. At the moment, we've got such great visual of them from the back. Here's one beautiful one. Look as he comes across the car here. Wow, you are magnificent. So they're heading. Wow, here they come. All right, let's see what they want to do. Looks like they're going to carry on this way. Here's two just here. There's one over there. There's one here. There's another one there. There's a whole bunch of things happening right now. James is over there. He's doing fantastic jobs just there. As they go through the veld, look at this. This is fantastic, eh? This is fantastic. Okay, let's have a look at these two. James is on those two, so let's see if we can stay with these two for as long as possible. All right. It looks like I'll be taking over the sighting. We've got better visual because of this camera, so we can get good night shots with these wild dogs. Let's see what we can do. Here goes two. There's two just in front of us. There's another one right over there. Just want to chat to James quickly as they go through this thicket. James, do you copy James? Right, they're going through the thicket here. I think there's a road just to the west here. Let's see if we can get a visual of them running towards us. That'll be amazing. Wow, look at this, guys. Here they come. Now I get some great visual of them walking past. Fantastic. Are they about to go into this thicket though? What is about to happen? This could be the last time we see them, unless we can find them from another position. But wait, looks, one of them stopped here. This could be a good sign. Let's switch off the vehicle. There's another one coming right next to us here. Amazing. They're all sitting here on the boundary. There's one down here. There's one right here. And the one that we're looking at right now is stopped, still in his tracks. I think he's listening for whatever he can hear out there. Listen to the sounds, everyone. You can hear the birds are going crazy. One just came right past my vehicle here. Fantastic, they're all going into the block. They might have spotted something. If they have spotted, we're going to have to try and see what we can do to get to the best visual. Dylan's asking, what is the size difference between this wild dog and a German Shepherd? It's actually quite similar. A German Shepherd is a dog that I've always wanted since I was a young man. And they seem very, very similar. Maybe the German Shepherd is a little bit slender, a little bit shorter. Okay, so it looks like they've gone down into the thicket. Sorry, I meant to say that the wild dog is a little bit more slender and shorter than the German Shepherd. But the German Shepherd does have a lot of hair on it. So you can easily disguise the slim body, because German Shepherds, as you know, are very, very good dogs at protecting their sheep. All right. We're going to follow them and see what we can do to find the best visual. I've got a feeling that they've gone into this block in front of us here. Our best decision would be to carry on down this road and see if we can meet them on the other side. Just chat to James quickly. James, do you copy James? James, I'm just driving on the western edge of quarantine. What do you think my best approach is if they've just got into the block west of this road? Copy that? All right, so James is actually out of the sighting. I thought wasn't sure if he was completely out. So I'm on this on my own now. So this will be a test. As you can see, it's getting slightly dark out here. So it's going to be even more difficult to spot the dogs.
What James is up to right now is trying to get his spotlight untangled from the bird's nest of wires as he's discovered. Anyway, difficult block that those dogs have headed into, I'm afraid. So if we don't see them again, we've had a wonderful day with them. But Sam will try, and that camera is ideal for a moonlit night to be following wild dogs. So with any luck, we'll find them again shortly. We're going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam now. And the reason for that is that, well, it was around about where, not Shiluva, apparently Tsagani, the leopardess that I haven't seen before, was found along the Buffelshoek Cutline, and so we're just going to go and see if we can't pick her up on the way to Buffelshoek Dam. And she was hunting male impala, Brent said today, and as I was chatting when we were at the Tingana sighting, I said male impala, of course, are dying fast and furious at the moment because the leopards are dining out on them, mainly because they're not concentrating on watching out for leopards. And sorry, I'm just listening to the Game Drive radio. And I've never seen Sagani, and she of course is part of a long line of very golden leopards, unlike the line we're more here, the Karula line. She comes from the Campbell Koppies, Sunset Bend female, originally in Londolozi and Mala Mala, and they are known to be very golden. Her mother was Kwatile, a very golden leopard, so I'd really love to see her. And I'm interested that she's come all the way up here. She's got a long way from Kwatile's territory. You smell that, Brian? Very floral, don't you think?
Yeah.
Gardenia-like. Oh, lovely. It's going to be a delightful moonlit night this evening. And we were talking quite a lot about omnivory and herbivory and browsivory. Two words, not words at all, of course. Now, but Debbie in Vancouver, you're interested to know whether herbivores are herbivores or omnivores. Well, they're largely herbivores. I suspect they probably are not averse to eating the odd bit of meat, but they do chew on bones quite a lot. And the reason they chew on bones is that they have to have quite a lot of calcium. In fact, we're about to drive through a whole herd of beefaloes, I think. Yes, we are. They chew bones because they need calcium for the quills that they have. So, Debbie, they are sort of herbivores that engage in osteophagia. This is that future. Again, that wonderful night camera. It would be wonderful here. Hello. That cow is more aged than Methuselah. She's quite impressive, isn't she, Brian? As you hang from that red bush willow tree that I parked you in.
Thank you, James.
They don't like the light either, everyone, so we're not going to put a light on them. She's really close by, though. She's probably only about 10 feet from the car. And the buffalo here don't often let us get that close. It's a really impressive set of horns she's got. Deeply aged old girl that she is.
Wow, guys, we are back with the wild dogs. They are heading west on this road. How very exciting. We are so lucky to be viewing them again. Oh, man, this is incredible. Wow. Oh, check it as they come up here. This camera is incredible that I can get such great footage of them. Here it comes. It's another one next to me. That's one. Wow. That's two. There comes another one that's coming out. This is amazing, guys. I'm so happy we bumped back into them. We found you. Hi, guys. Thank you for giving me some of the best entertainment or experience of my life today. What are you guys up to? What are you listening to? What are you looking for? Ooh, you found something. What have you found? What have you found? They've just headed into that block. Wow, that smell. Dave, can you smell that, hey? Yeah. Here they come. So the other ones are standing. I'm not going to go into the block now because it's too dark. There's 3 here that are running past us. If you get it sighting, no, you can't. Okay, we're going to follow the ones on the road because that's safer They're going into the block. So let's follow these three and see what happens. Here we can see them. They're looking out into the distance. Here they go. They're off. They're off. That could be the last sighting of them, guys. What an epic encounter that we just had with them. What an epic encounter. Did you see their reaction as they changed? I'm just going to go into this thicket. Not so far, just to see if we can see if they've seen something. But they've gone. It's very, very thick in there. And it's too dark to go in there, so I'm not going to go in there. We're just watching the antenna there. Is it alright?
Go ahead. No. Just reverse roll.
Alright, here we go. Alright. Okay guys, we're going to see if we can get back on this road. We'll slowly go back down Rebecca's where we found them on. We may very well see a few more because that was only about 5, hey Dave?
Yeah, sorry.
So there's all the chance in the world that we might be able to bump into the other wild dogs. Wow. Guys, hasn't this been one of the most fantastic days? If you've watched from this morning to this afternoon, you would have seen 2 encounters with wild dogs. I mean, wow, what an experience. What an experience. They were playing in front of us, they were hunting in front of us today. Jeepers. Unreal experiences. I think this might be Brent over here. Let's see if it is Brent. How's it, guys? How's it going?
Good.
Did you see them run past?
No, I heard them catch something down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was, it sounded like they caught a scrub hare.
Okay.
A really high-pitched screaming.
Okay.
And there's an impala sitting running here, so I think they're further that way.
Yeah, so we just saw them. We were with them, and then they ran into the thicket. And we weren't sure. We thought it was the best idea not to follow them into that thicket because it's really thick. I think we've had such an incredible encounter so much today. So we'll let them be out in the bush and get something to eat tonight, which is all they deserve because they've had a long, tiring day. But let's just go and see what James is up to, and we'll see you just now.
Hello everybody, we're driving along the Buffelshoek Cutline now, and we went past some elephants. The elephants were pleased to see us. Well, they weren't really, they didn't like the light very much. But I just want to go back to, I'm not sure how much of buffalo herd you heard, but it was just the most stunning sound of them feeding through the night time there. So now let's go and see what's at the dam. You'll notice that I'm not looking back as often as I might. That is simply because of course during to spot any. Right, so you say we saw a new leopard. Yes, we did. Not that new. You've probably seen her. You've been watching a long time. Her name is Tingana, apparently. 3-3 spot pattern, offspring of the late Vuyatela. So, I'm sure, Aisa, you've seen her before. One of that sort of golden lineage of the Sunset Bend or Campbell Koppies leopard that used to live at Londolozi and Mala Mala. So that's who we saw. I've never seen her before. Brent luckily saw her, and then we hope to find her again this afternoon. But her tracks, I'm afraid, were obliterated by a roadworks crew. Okay, that's going to be it from us today, everybody. Thank you, Bryan, for your efforts today. Thank you to all of you for talking to us. You started this drive, and it's wonderful chatting to you as we drive through here, especially those young kids earlier today. Wasn't that great? Big thanks to Sam, of course, and Dave. And a thanks to Louisi in the final control, and Kirsten. We will see you tomorrow as the African dawn breaks 6 o'clock. Until then, stay safe and happy. Bye-bye.